Quakers will tell you that we have no rituals. In point of fact, silence is a very powerful ritual. And as a drama specialist, I know that standing in silence is incredibly powerful. A theatre director who uses a group of people standing in a circle in silence will know the effect that has on an audience. The longer the silence goes on, the more you sit there knowing that something is going to happen. And we use that technique. We sit there in silence, knowing that something is going to happen. I have to say, not always. Sometimes I come out of a meeting feeling that I've not really contributed anything to it, and my mind has never settled down enough for me to get anything out of it. And I have to comfort myself by saying that I am there not just for myself, but for other people. And that my silent stillness helps to create the space in which other people can worship. I'm not there for myself. But not always there, also in silence. Ministry is a part of Quaker worship. We are a priesthood of all believers. We're all entitled to speak. And many of us do. Often during the course of a Quaker meeting, 2 or 3 or even more people sometimes will stand up and speak. They speak from the heart. When I was a lay reader, I was told off for saying that I was talking from my own point of view. I was told that you had to speak ex cathedra, on behalf of the church. We don't. We speak on behalf of ourselves. Many people will say how painful it is to give ministry, how they resist it, how they desperately don't want to, but something inside them tells them that they've got to stand up and speak. Something has to be said. And what a strain it is for them. And yet we're expected, if there's something to be said, to get up, to stand and speak, slowly, clearly, briefly, and then to sit down again in the silence. And our duty, as the rest of the meeting, is to receive what's being said, to hear it in the spirit in which it was spoken, to unpick from what's been said something that's going to help us. Sometimes it speaks very clearly to our condition. Sometimes it's more of a struggle. But there's always something there that's important to hear. I said other people found it difficult to speak. I have to confess that my problem is the other way around, that my trade is speaking. It's easy for me to speak, and I have to resist the temptation to stand up and speak. It's too easy. So I have to use criteria to prevent me from speaking. And I think my criteria, first of all, is it's something that is important, and that addresses other people, because much of what goes through my mind is important to me. It speaks to me, but it's not for other people. What we minister to other people is for others, to help them. And it has to be something that is new. Something that's spoken to me during the course of the meeting, something I wasn't expecting. Because there are lots of stray thoughts going around in my head, and it would be very easy to recycle, to rehash something just because I felt like speaking. And that mustn't happen. What I say has to be new, has to be important, has to address and help the rest of the meeting. Always, after ministry, there's silence. This is not a debating society. We're not here to argue with one another. We're here to listen and to draw on what's been said. Always one starts to think about what's been spoken. And often later on in the meeting somebody else will stand up and speak, referring back to their first piece of ministry, and you realise that your thoughts have moved on there as well. And that where you thought that there were people sitting separately, you were actually worshipping together. We were all in this. And when we come to the end of the meeting, when we shake hands with one another to show that the meeting is finished, there is a sense, whether there's been spoken ministry or whether there's silent meeting, that we've moved forward, that this was a journey, that in the silence something indeed has happened.